Zack Polanski completely humiliates schools, Carole Malone on the evidence and practicality of legalizing drugs. It's the compassionate measure. The war on drugs haven't worked. Let's get straight into the video.
Policy to make all drugs from cannabis to heroin and crack cocaine legal in the UK. The Green Party believes drug abuse is a public health issue and should therefore not be a criminal offence, so that people can access health and social care services without fear. Currently, possession of Class A drugs can carry a prison sentence of up to 7 years, and those who supply them could get even longer. For Class B or Class C drugs like cannabis, ketamine or anabolic steroids, the penalty can range from 2 to 5 years in prison. But you don't think people should be punished? That's the key thought here, isn't it?
Well, some drugs can be really dangerous. So I think the question here is about the fact the war on drugs has failed. We know people are going to take drugs. So when they're legalised, they also need to be regulated, and that's the key bit here. Now, are they going to be regulated or unregulated as they are right now on the black market by gangs? It could be serving anything and could be putting them in the hands of kids. Or are we going to make sure actually that medical health professionals and people who can actually care for people who have problematic relationships with drugs can legalise and regulate all drugs to make sure we know exactly what's in the drugs?
And we go to the top ones, we go to the, I haven't had any of these, I don't know what they're like, but heroin, crack cocaine, crystal, the Breaking Bad scenario, the guy wouldn't have to brew it in his caravan, he could do it in his front room.
Well, even more so, it wouldn't be in the front room, it'd be about ultimately making sure that's on prescription or it comes from a medical health professional.
Right.
As opposed to people, again, doing these things on the street or alleyways and having a whole...
And you, I don't know when this came out, whether it came out by accident or just you announced it as a policy. What was it, in an interview or what?
It's been Green Party policy for a long time, but I did something called the regional interviews, which is where you go around the country, and it's the one that did Liz Truss in. She did it really badly. Thankfully, I had a really, really good day, and I was asked about, is this still your policy? And I said, absolutely. And they said, do you not think it's controversial? And I said, I think the controversial thing is the fact that right now there's so many unnecessary drug deaths. There's an organisation called Anyone's Child who works with families whose children and grandchildren have been the victims of drugs. And they're saying, actually, we think they should be legalised and regulated because it could have saved the lives of our children and grandchildren.
And if I wanted to have some heroin, I'd go to the doctor and I'd have to persuade her that I had a need for it or that I just wanted to have a lot of fun at the weekends. And then she would sell me, would she, a syringe or something?
Oh my God. Such a weird cartoon view of taking drugs. And yes, politicians won't touch this with a barge pole. It's not popular. But I really respect the fact that the Green Party, are taking the evidence here, not the emotional, because there's so much emotion wrapped up in this and fear-mongering. No, we need to treat this as a medical health issue. Compassion, not criminalization. People die, and its deaths have been going up over the last few years because there's new synthetic drugs. There's always the black market there. Why not try and tackle the black market, regulate them, and you will have less deaths. We've seen this in Portugal. They have, on average, less deaths, overdose, than the EU broadly. It's just common sense.
I mean, and I go and then just shoot up somewhere, or?
Well, it would have to not be for profit, so it'd be public sector. But also, this wouldn't be about using heroin for fun. This would be about someone with a problematic addiction.
Ah, OK. Carole, what do you think?
Well, I think you need to do a bit of research, Zack, and I think you're peddling very dangerous policies here. You need to do some research. There hasn't been a war on drugs in this country for the last 50 years.
Yes, there has. My God. The irony of this will become clear very soon.
This country has, by stealth, been decriminalising drugs for the last 50 years. Cannabis in this country still, by law, holds a maximum of a 5-year prison sentence. No one that I know in the last 30, 40 years has been sent to jail for that.
That is not evidence. That is not... Calm down, Anthony. Calm down.
Anyway, but what I hear...
Anyway, non-point made. That's not how we... Oh, I don't know anyone who does drugs. So, no one does drugs? Alcohol's quite popular, quite destructive. That's legal. No, oh my God, insane.
What are you doing, which I think is terrifying? You are literally campaigning for vulnerable young people to be taking more drugs. You're
pure straw man. So no argument. feeling-based argument, pure straw. No, he's not. He's actually doing the opposite, because a lot of young people do take drugs and they don't know what's in it. There's many cases of young people taking drugs. If they are able to take those drugs safely and they're regulated and monitored, and you decrease the black market, which may still be there, but nowhere near as much, you are saving people's lives. We have the data on this. It's clear. The sociological data is clear. The war on drugs has failed. Legalizing and regulating drugs lowers the deaths. Why is she against saving people's lives?
You're advocating giving them free poison. You are advocating young people to stupefy themselves, causing possible brain damage. And what? In the name of a civil liberty? In the name of
No, because the fact that the highest number of deaths, I think it was about 5,000 in 2023, was the highest it's been since the early 90s. So yes, drug deaths are going up. We need to tackle this and go, wait a minute, how do we maybe look at the evidence and the data and tackle it in the medical, compassionate way, not just a, stigmatized conviction. You're a criminal, you're a bad person if you take drugs.
Anyway, that's his point.
My big point is in Portugal they did this. Drug death reduced 80%.
I'm so glad.
There is no evidence. There is no evidence that legalising something. There is no evidence that legalising something.
You don't get away with mentioning Portugal with here.
Which was a success. And yes, drugs, in the last few years, drugs have gone up. There was, I think it has plateaued, but that's for external reasons. Synthetic drugs, the fact that obviously a black market still does exist. So it's not, again, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
I was just finishing my point, Carole, despite you shouting me down.
Do not mention Portugal.
Okay, hang on, let's show, this is like Fawlty Towers mentioning the war. You do Portugal. And then Carole will respond on Portugal.
Please let me respond.
There is no link across the whole world between legalising something and someone doing it more.
True.
Ultimately, we need to make sure that people are protected, that they are safe. So you're actually making the opposite of the argument.
But what's the Portugal point?
The Portugal point is that when they legalised drugs in Portugal, drug deaths have reduced 80%.
Okay, what's your answer to that?
My answer to that is you clearly haven't done any research because...
Oh my God. Just no answer to that. No answer to evidence, empirics, reality, data.
Because even great supporters who 10 years ago supported Portugal are now going against it. The government...
Who would that be? Any names? No?
Government in Portugal is now talking about criminalising drug use again because it's out of control. The number of people who've been...
It's not out of control. That's an exaggeration.
Hospitalisations in Portugal for cannabis taking, for psychotic episodes and schizophrenic episodes has increased 30-fold in the first 5 years that the policy was introduced. People are now saying that the mayor of Porto, the second biggest city in Portugal, is saying that this policy helps no one anymore. It's actually killing kids. It's actually
would
getting
more
kids
people
hooked on
take
them.
drugs if they leave?
And the evidence for that? They may be saying that, but is that... I mean, she's saying a lot here. Is it based in facts?
More people have taken drugs in Portugal.
That's just not true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not true. We need to look at the science
Hang
and the
on, Carole, let him
information.
answer.
And the data.
Hang on.
He's not going to talk about Portugal because he doesn't know the facts.
This Portugal
the
thing's
Washington
great.
Post has just done a
Yeah, she's read one article and she thinks she knows what she's talking about here. Insane.
massive investigation into the Portugal scenario and said it's not working.
I mean, what we're hearing
Read
here is
up.
the right wing in countries are very
Oh,
unhappy
Yeah.
that there is now.
Hang on, Carole,
Yeah,
just a
pretty
second.
much.
Let's
Are you
Zack get
insane?
It's
The
Zack's
Washington
first
Post is
time
the
on the
liberal
show
left-wing
since he
paper.
became Green leader. Let's let him have at least one sentence.
He's peddling nonsense.
Yeah, but you've got to let him
I
peddle
mean,
it.
for Carole to shout peddling nonsense after that rant is quite some audacity.
I'm not peddling. I'm peddling
not gonna
facts. I'm peddling facts, and you smiling and pretending to be all thinking about.
Hang
These
on.
are facts.
I'm
and you
laughing
haven't
because
read them.
medical health professionals are saying over and over again, who I trust more than you, Carole,
I'm
and saying that
hang on,
ultimately
Carole.
this is a way to deal with unnecessary drug deaths. And although I'm smiling, this is a really serious issue.
Sorry, King's
Drugs
College
can be really, really
King's
dangerous.
College London
Just a sec.
report. King's College London
I mean, this
report
isn't really a
recently
debate, is it?
talking about the dangers of drugs. The Yale School of Medicine talking about the dangers of drugs. You haven't read them.
And I'm talking about the dangers of drugs, and I'm saying let's make sure that drugs are safer by being in a regulated market rather than being in a black market where gangs and county lines.
You think that in countries that have decriminalised...
Why do you not care about vulnerable children, Carol? Why do you not care about the vulnerable children that are having to sell drugs?
I do.
What about, Zack, what about this objection that my kids, I like to think, are law-abiding, and therefore one thing that puts them off taking heavy-duty drugs, taking crystal meth, is that they know they'd be breaking the law. Once they know it's not, I lose a tool to persuade them. So, for example, when my 18-year-old says she wants a tattoo, I can't say to her, don't get one, because she says, I'm 18, it's legal, I'm going to have one. And she went ahead and got one. When my 18-year-old then says, I want to take heroin, crack, and crystal meth all in the same evening...
Is that going to happen, though? Statistically, is that going to happen? These straw man arguments, it's such an emotive topic, but we need to look at the evidence here.
I can't say it's illegal, because Zack says it isn't.
Well, the first thing is I don't want young people, indeed anyone, taking those drugs. So this isn't about...
But you've taken a weapon away from me as a parent.
But there's no evidence that it's actually a deterrent. And in fact, the evidence shows the opposite. Prohibition, as we know, often drives people to go where they're not getting the right information.
There are lots of good people who don't want to break the law. Lots of good... Look at the 20-somethings in our society. They're so law-abiding, they don't even drink alcohol.
But I'm not suggesting we sell these drugs. It's not like it's a normalised thing. We could talk about alcohol. We could talk about other drugs that people are taking.
Yeah, let's do that. Should we do that?
And that's really destructive. So I think it's ultimately about making sure people have got the right support, education.
Okay, all right.
Can we talk about... He's saying that if you legalise it, it's actually better. Talk to any customs officer. HMRC's biggest problem is the smuggling of cigarettes into this country that people don't want to pay tax on. And that's exactly what happens with drugs. And if you look at any country...
What's that got to do about legalising drugs, though? That's a completely different issue. Just straw men. She has nothing here. Just... pathetic.
That has decriminalised drugs, the drug scams are doing better business than ever because people don't want to pay tax on drugs, and that's exactly what legalising is.
People don't want to pay tax. Yeah, they'd rather just get worse quality drugs and pay more. Oh my God.
Separate issue about people smuggling drugs, whether they're legal or illegal.
It's not a separate issue. Are you mad?
Let's deal with drug smuggling.
It's not a separate issue.
Of course it's a separate issue. That's not illegal drug smuggling.
It's talking about people don't want to pay taxation on legal drugs. And so they...
Evidence, citation, source.
They will seek drugs that are illegal and not pay the tax.
By the way, if we had people paying tax, that's money that could be going into our economy, helping for health and social care, we're back to the NHS,
money that goes into
and
big
ultimately supporting
corporations.
people to be able to deal with their drugs.
Oh, she's anti-capitalist. Okay, interesting.
Christine is in Hampshire. Who's in the right here, Christine? We've got a serious disagreement.
Oh, I'm with Carol. Zack is absolutely peddling nonsense. God, please never let the Green Party get in power. Has he got children? Have you got children, Zack?
Not an argument.
Because have you got children,
No,
Zack?
no, he said no.
Right, no. Well, if you had children, you would feel completely different. You bring beautiful children with beautiful bodies and beautiful minds into the world, and you want them to ruin their minds and their bodies. In fact, I feel so strongly about it. I've said this before. I would shoot drug dealers. We have no deterrent in this country. That's the trouble. They want shooting.
Purely rational argument there.
Have you? It sounds like you might have had some experience of this in your family, Christine. Have you?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Okay.
But
No, because you would treat them with compassion and go, wait a minute, my son took drugs. He died, he overdosed. Maybe if you got the help, the regulation, and we controlled it, and, legislated to help these people, he may be alive. That's often the stories you do hear. It's the people who don't know anything about drugs that have been caught up in the stigmatization and the media narrative that, oh, drugs are bad, drugs are evil. Drugs are really misunderstood. They are complicated, and people are going to take drugs whether you like it or not.
Oh, God.
We could end drug dealing by making drugs legal and regulated.
Can we ask you a question, Zack? Zack, can we ask Zack a question? Do you take drugs?
See, no arguments. Do you take drugs? No, he doesn't. Neither of us take drugs. We want to help people with drugs. I don't like drugs. I don't take drugs. I'm high on life, baby. I'm sure Zack is too. But we want to help these people.
Do you take drugs, Zack?
No, I don't, but that's not...
No, I'll tell you why. No, because you don't, but you're advocating the children be allowed to take...
No, he's not. When did he say that? Pure straw man. She has no arguments here.
That young, vulnerable
absolutely
people
not
who
what
don't
I am not
understand
advocating.
the dangers.
That's an outrageous allegation, Carole. I'm not advocating for
It's what you're doing.
He said they're dangerous. He wants them provided under a legal cover to make it safer.
Legal and regulated,
Okay.
so that public health professionals
drug
are making...
addiction is an illness.
Yes.
I think people can have problematic relationships with drugs, and I don't want people to have
You
drug
think it's-
addictions.
I
The
ask you a
truth is
question.
people are drug addicted,
let's get back
and
to
that
it.
means are they going to
Do
go
you
to
see it-
gangs
do you-
or are they going to go to
Okay,
public
do you
health
see it as-
professionals?
Stop, guys.
You
No,
can't
hang
answer
on,
a straight
hang on.
question, can
We did, but it's a nuanced thing. It's not black or white. Not everyone who takes drugs are addicted to drugs. You can take them on a recreational, safe basis. Some people abuse drugs, and where that line is murky. You know, the people who drink, maybe they drink, 5 days a week. Is that a problem? Maybe it is for some people. Maybe it isn't for others. These are things that are complicated, and we need to have a nuanced debate on this based on evidence. She's only interested in straw men and emotion.
No, he didn't. He answered it in his
he
way.
didn't.
All right, James in
answered it
Belfast.
directly.
Hello, James.
Hello, Jeremy. Very nice to speak to you.
Who do you agree with in this
Panel as
discussion?
Well, I think it's very brave of Zack to speak for what's right and what's actually factual as opposed to what's popular. Zack knows that this is an unpopular in the country, but he's still willing to speak up for the marginalised, for people like me who were that young child who could have been peddled drugs. I was 13 when I started heroin, Jeremy, and I was a child. I didn't know what I was doing.
Exactly.
This led, if I was treated as a criminal and went into prison, I would have been just taught how to drug deal. I would have been taught how to this, that, and the other. What has happened is I've had a lifetime on drugs, on and off drugs, trying to get help, trying to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
The last person that spoke, I'm still a beautiful person. I still have a beautiful mind. I still go out every day and hope to come across somebody that I can help, hope to come across a granny, and I'm still on drugs. It doesn't make me a bad person.
If Zack's policy came in, though, would you not just end up being? You'd still be on drugs. You'd be getting drugs from a doctor instead of a pusher.
Yeah, well, this is what currently happens anyway. You get given substitute prescribing is one of the ways to get off heroin, for example. And I didn't like that. It didn't agree with me. But it prevented me from... Sorry, it was an injection I was getting. It prevented me from... I never injected before, and the first time I got injected was for this.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I see. Okay, thank you, James. It's, what we're seeing in the States with the opioid thing is close to a sort of legal provision of mind-bending substances.
But
No, it's not. Not at all. It's not comparable at all. There's deep discontent, inequality, and alienation, which turns people to drugs. Poorer people are more likely to take drugs, and especially drugs like heroin. Why not tackle inequality, which Zack wants to do? Make people's lives more stable, more hopeful. Again, poverty, trauma, these often lead to people taking drugs. And then not criminalize those people and help them, give them compassion, understanding, go, yes, you're taking drugs for complicated reasons. Are you doing it in a healthy way? Great. We're going to regulate it. We're going to tax it. People, smoke a bit of weed, whatever. They have a drink. That's legal. But if we can't have this conversation, we're not going to solve this problem. Like I say, 5,000 drug overdeaths in 2023. It's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary.
What James has just described, he was talking about the substitutes they give for heroin, which is often methadone. There are as many deaths with methadone as there are with heroin. But the bottom line is
I wonder if she made that stat up or not. Mystery.
He's talking about kids of his age, if there are no laws, drugs are going to be made much more
that's the thing,
easily available.
Because that's where Zack disagrees. That's exactly the division.
When you put the drugs out there and they're more easily available, it doesn't make you use them more wisely.
Okay.
It just means they're more available to abuse.
I think the point is you'll use them more wisely if you can then get the mental health support and support of a medical health professional.
Why?
Rather
Why?
than...
So
for the exact reason.
Oh my God. Just dumb. I mean, there's no other word for it.
And Jeremy said,
Let
because you're
people
going to the doctor and not the pusher.
So let
That's
people
just so
take
obvious.
heroin and then go to the doctor because they become addicts. Why don't you just not?
What? That's not what he said. Go to the doctor. If you feel like, oh, I'm really struggling, I've got mental health issues, various reasons why someone might take heroin, they can talk to their doctor and do it in a safe way where maybe they can take methadone or heroin or alternatives, and they can have a discussion of like, okay, maybe you need counseling as well. You know, your mother died, you've had a hard life, XYZ. Why are you taking these drugs? And perceive it as a mental health and wider problem, inequality, instability. But she has no idea what she's talking about. But she's very confident in what she has to say.
Become an addict in the first place?
Well, that's an absurd question.
Is
Because
it?
people don't.
Why is everyone absurd to you?
Because you're.
Because you're not saying anything. What? Oh yeah, you just choose to become an addict. I just chose to be a good person and never take drugs in my life. Well, I've had a few drugs. I'm a naughty boy. Yes, that's what I did. Me and Zach, very privileged men, have just made the right decision. No, we've been privileged because we've been educated, we've been in stable households, and we've not had things happen to us that would probably push us into taking drugs.
Absolutely absurd, because
put
people don't choose to be addicts. That's the whole point. They are addicted.
All right.
No, they're not.
How
It's
can
not
you not
an illness.
get this basic?
No, they're not. Those people who are addicted to drugs, they're not addicted. They're just bad people. Don't you know, Zach? Fucking hell.
It's not an illness.
We need to turn to another.
It is an illness. The medical consensus is pretty clear. Drug addiction is an illness. It should be treated that way. It should not be criminalized. Oh my God. She said she wants to look at the evidence. She's not interested in evidence.
Subject.
No,
okay,
no,
later
I want
it's
to
the
talk
papers.
about when you say it's an illness. A real illness is cancer or MS.
Fucking hell. Oh, I wonder if she thinks depression is an illness. Interesting. Probably not, actually. Just bloody get on with it. Come on. Just get on with your life. You're a bit sad. Come on.
Don't you dare compare that
Alcoholism.
to
Your mental-
self-inflicted.
Oh, how is that self-inflicted? If you grew up in poverty in Scotland in the 90s, where there was a drug epidemic and people were taking drugs, like you just like, oh no, not for me. You're surrounded by people with drugs. You've had a painful childhood. No, I can rise above it. I'm a young person. No, she's Dunning-Kruger embodied.
Health erasure is pretty offensive to people.
Sorry?
And like James that we just had, the call there.
She doesn't know what health erasure means. What? Sorry, what's that?
I don't think James chose to be addicted. Because you've just said that
he
it's not
willfully
actually
took
an
drugs.
illness.
He willfully took drugs.
All right, it's the papers and
She
everything.
doesn't know anything about his life. What led him to taking drugs at 13-year-old? Probably some pretty tough upbringing, I'm going to guess. I don't know. That's an assumption. Yeah, he just did it. 13-year-old just took drugs. That's what they do. Not when they're struggling with their mental health or family turmoil or trauma or inequality or poverty or many social ills that she's not interested in solving. They just choose to take drugs. Really? Any evidence of this? No, of course not.
Something else later if we've got the energy. Find out where Britain's biggest solar farm could be built near you, maybe. After the break, we're
Oh, scary. Oh, it's all scary. It's drugs, scary solar panels. Oh, my God. They're coming for us. The Green Party are coming for us. They've just hit 110 members. 110,000 members. Not 110. Let's get it to 120. Join the Green Party right now so we can legalise drugs. Because it's the compassionate thing to do. It's the data-driven thing to do. And it's the right thing to do. See you in the next video.